All right, guys, welcome into another episode of the Queen City Soccer Show. I'm Cole Godfrey, and I'm joined, as always, by Level Up Luke. Luke, how you feeling, buddy?
Pretty good, Cole. It's been a little while since we've done this. I feel like it's been forever, so it's good to get back on here with you. Quick update about the spaces that we've been publishing. Apparently, there's been an update to the Twitter API, which is not letting us publish or download the recordings of those spaces. So unless I'm in front of a computer, I will not be able to record those for the foreseeable future. And once that changes, I am happy to publish those back on the feed again. But until then, it's just me and you, my friend, and then any special episodes that we do along the way.
Yeah, and I mean it's unfortunate because those spaces were kind of a big hit for us. They were very highly tuned in on the podcast feed, and then obviously live after games. Certain games, and we'd get some pretty good feedback. So hopefully that'll be resolved here soon in the future. But before, you know, unfortunately, that's just the way it is with the spaces right now, guys. So, like Luke said, just bear with us. And very busy. I'll be going on vacation next week, and soccer's coming thick and fast. We got the Leagues Cup coming up. We got Copa America coming up. We got the Olympics coming up. So there's going to be we obviously the Triumph and the Independents are still in the Jägermeister Cup, and USL League One is still full go. So
I mean, not
we
to
do
mention
we
perhaps the biggest tournament of all, the soccer tournament 7-on-7 tournament in Cary, which I will be bringing you guys live updates from. I'm very excited about that. That's starting next week, so it's upon us.
yeah, and we teased that out on our last episode we did. We did get fully credentialed for that match or for that tournament. So yeah, Luke is going to be taking over and taking that on, and it is an exciting tournament. Man, last year was phenomenal. Some huge names, just to jog your memory. Names like J.J. Watt, Sergio Aguero, Pat McAfee, just absolutely Nani. Mario Balotelli, some huge names and huge teams playing in that tournament from the
Bayern
female and
Munich,
male.
Borussia Dortmund. You
Yeah,
got
the list goes on and
Inter
on. The
Milan,
U.S. women's team. Yeah.
Wrexham, the
So,
Wrexham Red Dragons. Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah, man. So, I mean, it's a big deal. So just y'all keep an eye out for that and stay tuned in for that. But Luke, Charlotte FC has marching on in the season, man, and they played Union this past weekend. You were there. I was not. I was unfortunately at the fire department, as seems to be the way here recently. And how was your experience, man? What was it? What was the vibes like up in Charlotte?
Yeah, and we talked about it in the Twitter Spaces. I'm still doing those if you guys want to jump in live after the games. But we talked about it. That was one where I felt disappointed. I thought that we really deserved 3 points. We really maintained the attacking momentum throughout. It was weird. I felt like, and then I heard the same thing echoed from a number of our friends. I felt like I was waiting for us to score the game winner. I wasn't waiting for the contest to play itself out. I thought that our game winner was going to happen, and I was just waiting for it, and it never came. So we end up with a 0-0. 1 point against one of the best teams in recent MLS history, historic team in MLS, the Philadelphia Union, known for their youth development. I think their record signing as a franchise is under $3 million, which is about what we paid for Pekovic. So don't they don't spend money on high DPS. They develop their own talent, and they have a great history of success. So getting a point against them is certainly nothing to sneeze at. But I have to tell you, throughout that match, I thought that it was one of the stronger performances that we've seen from Charlotte this year. We allowed a few opportunities throughout. We can talk about that, but I mean, really, it was our game to lose, and we held on to the Kahlina sheet. Obviously Christian Kahlina gets through May without allowing a single goal. Extremely impressive. I know the club has been calling this month mayhem. I have to say that the only mayhem we've created is for our opponents' offenses, because we have completely shut down and frustrated them at every opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say enough about Christian Kahlina. He was on the MLS Team of the Week bench again for goalkeeper, and again, we talked about this the last time. What he has to do, or what does he have to do to be the starter for the Team of the Week, if you will? Because I mean, five clean sheets in a row is nothing to sneeze at for sure. And before we hop into what else is going on, let's just take a look at the lineup for Charlotte FC and what Dino goes with. He goes with Patrick Agyemang up front, Tavares, Nikola Petkovic, Vargas on the right side, Jabril Gianni, Ashley Westwood, Yao Pedro, Andrew Privet, Melanda Bird, and obviously Kahlina in goal. Any big surprises in this lineup, Luke?
I'm going to say yeah. This may be a little bit of a hot take. I'm not sure about João Pedro. I like him. I think he has a lot of talent. I think that he does some good things, but I'm just not all the way there right now on taking him over somebody like Jalen Lindsay. I know that we'd be switching sides a little bit, but um, I just don't think there's that kind of link up play and connection that I really want to see from him at this point. And I think Diani, I'm completely okay with. I think he's done a lot of really good stuff. Um, Even Tavares up top on the wing, while we're kind of waiting for Abada to get back to full fitness, I think Tavares is fine and he has those flashes of brilliance. But, I mean, he needs to figure out that finishing touch. And, they had him taking some free kicks. I was not a huge fan of that. They kept switching out. Westwood was taking some, and I don't know, man. We got to figure out our free kicks. We got to figure out finishing especially. What was your thought on that starting front line with
Yeah,
with
man.
Vargas and Tavares?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I don't have an issue with Tavares being on the left over there. Definitely, like you said, with Leo trying to get back to full match fitness. Um, Nikola Petkovic, he played a 6.6 on Foot Mob, but Nikola is an interesting one for me. We obviously know the talent's there, and anytime you see him in the starting lineup, to me, it's a good thing because that means Dino's going for it because he's not playing very defensively, and he just this was not his best game. But with that being said, it wasn't Big Pat's best game either. But I will say Big Pat played a 6.2. Big Pat had some. We've asked him this in person, in post-match press conferences and stuff, kind of alluding to him not getting the calls that he's deserved just because of how big he is. And we've seen that again this past week. There was several times where he was fouled and nothing was called. And I don't know what he has to do if he has to start flopping, which I don't want to see. We just got rid of a striker who was, famous for that. So, but yeah, Nicola was. I was not very impressed with his performance. Obviously, like you said, this is a 0-0 game, and realistically, man, Kahlina is the reason you come away with just a point in this match. He had some really, really good saves. He, is a contender for save of the week again. And I don't know what else you could say about Kahlina. And I will touch on the Yao Pedro thing. You know, it's interesting because I kind of agree with you in the fact that getting forward like Euronen was doing, he hasn't shown all that creativity and that vision that Euronen has. But at the same time, defensively, man, it's hard to argue with, five clean sheets in a row. And then definitely the past three where he's been in there. And then, these aren't just, like you said, man, these are not teams that are, just, that you can just, sneeze at or whatever. Philadelphia, like you said, they have Gazdag, they have Carranza. These are top quality MLS players, and to come out with a clean sheet is a big deal. Same thing with the LA Galaxy. Yeah, you hold them to a clean sheet. You hold Chicago to a clean sheet with Shaqiri. You hold Nashville to a clean sheet with Mukhtar. These are very, very good teams that you're holding down. We're just not getting that productivity up front. And I know the Enzo defenders out there are like, well, if we had Enzo, one goal in 11 games, it's not Enzo. We need a number 10. And having Ben Bender back on the bench, and I know Coach Smith talked about it today. He's like, he's got to get more match fitness. We've only seen him play in some closed door friendlies and the one game with Crown Legacy, and I need to see more out of him before I can get him minutes. But I'm telling you, man, we need somebody in that 10 role who can make plays and have the creativity. We're not seeing that at this point in time. And yeah, man, we realistically we'll just go over some statistics for this game just to give you a sense of how this game went. Obviously, Charlotte dominated this game. I just want to say this: Charlotte had 65% possession. They doubled up um, the Union on passes, or more than doubled up. They had almost 500 passes to 275. They had the Union had 2 yellow cards. Charlotte had 11. This is the part. This is what I want to touch on with you, Luke, real quick. Charlotte had 11 corners, 11,
Yeah.
and nothing to show from it. Dude, other than that first game against NYCFC where Malanda, headed in from the corner, why can't we find any productivity off of corners, man?
Um, I hate to say this, but my hot take is going to be I don't think we have the personnel to deliver the ball. On paper, I mean, I would like to think that, Westwood or Tavares could deliver that ball into the box, or even Vargas. We had him taking some free kicks earlier in the season, and they've just shown that they can't do it, man. I mean, I'm assuming that they're covering this in practice, that they're practicing set pieces, but we're not seeing the results from it. So maybe when we're going on our shopping spree in the summer window, maybe we can get a free kick specialist. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully with Leo Labata coming back, you can see some corners from him that maybe some better service. Because again, man, you would think with the height on this team, with Big Pat, with Malanda,
Right.
with Gianni, with uh, Yao Pedro,
Yeah,
even. I mean,
Pedro's huge.
yeah, these are some big guys, man. That you would think. Andrew Privet, he had a good look this game. Just a headed off of a corner, headed right to the keeper, and these are guys that you would think would be just absolutely lethal in the air. And I mean, I would have to agree with you. I think that the service just has to be better. And unfortunately, it just hasn't been. Yeah, I'll get your takes on some of the substitutions. You had Scott Arfield come in for Nikola Pekovic in the 71st minute. Tiger Smalls also coming in the 71st minute for Yuri Tavares. And then in the 80th minute, Leo Labata comes on for Vargas. Any thoughts on any of the three subs? Obviously, Abada's the big one getting back on the field for the first time with his injury. How did Leo look to you?
I have been, feeling like we should err on the side of caution with Liel because I don't want to see the same thing that we saw last year where we're rushing guys back from injury. They start playing on this turf surface at Bank of America and they get re-injured very quickly. I know we've seen that in the past with Capetti and Wozniak. I just don't want to see that for Liel. I want him to really get healthy and see a really strong run of form from him. I don't want to rush it. I feel like he's our only DP right now. He's shown that he's the most talented player on the pitch for us. So I don't want to risk him going out with an injury. And if he re-injures that leg or that muscle, then it's not going to be a 2 or 3 week injury, right? That re-injury is going to be a lot longer. So I really want to see us take our time. I would have waited a little bit longer to sub him on, honestly. I would have gone maybe with somebody like Bender coming in for Diani to show an attacking look. I know you have Pekovic, but I mean, you can kind of switch up that look and maybe like a 2 cam high and show that kind of press because Bender's a creator. And I really think, based on what I saw with him with Crown Legacy, I thought he had at least maybe 45 minutes in him. So if you sub him in like the 70th minute, I think he can definitely, play out that last 25. And man, I don't know. I say take it easy with Liel. We'll see how he looks against Red Bull. Obviously, the gaffer knows their fitness and their performance better than me. But the gaffer's not used to a artificial turf pitch, and he's not used to managing that injury load. So, we got to trust our performance guys. the support staff that's monitoring the players throughout the game. We have to trust them. Um, I'm cautious because I don't trust the surface that they're playing on. And I know the players
Yeah.
feel the same way. Every time we talk to them, they say that they do not like the turf. They prefer the grass. They like playing at Matthews, if they're getting a rehab start for Crown Legacy, because the surface is a lot more forgiving. And obviously, Liel should not be getting rehab starts for Crown Legacy, but I hope that we can avoid some of those pitfalls that we had in the last 2 years with those re-injury concerns. I will point out, just interesting to me as I was watching the game, I was actually sitting next to our friend Danny Brams from the Charlotte Soccer Show. He joined me in my section 112, and we were watching the game. And as we were subbing these attacking players in, we actually flipped our wings twice. So I like that pragmatism. I like Dino, shifting the formation based on the personnel. After the game, Len was talking about the way that Dino pivoted the formation to show more of an attacking look later in the game. And, I like that pragmatism. I think that is one of the unsung strengths of this coach, is to really focus on the pieces that we have and the opponent that we're playing. So I was happy, man. Dean said after the game he thought it was the strongest performance of the season. I would say let's not get carried away. I thought it was good, but Philly had some really strong opportunities, some really high XG opportunities where it looked like we had some blown coverage or made some mistakes. So Kahlina stood on his head and saved the clean sheet, but I did not think this was our best complete performance. Just, with a grain of salt, though, we don't have any DPs on the pitch except for Abada in the closing minutes. So to shut out the entire month with no goals allowed in that kind of a situation is extremely impressive. Kahlina should have been the starting goalkeeper of the match day, like you said. He stood on his head. His neck must be pretty sore. His back must be sore from carrying the team. I'm not sure what to say, man. Like, Kahlina deserves at least consideration for the All-Star roster. I believe he's leading MLS in clean sheets. And
So
what other metric is there?
yeah, so just a few stats. Charlotte has kept the most clean sheets in MLS with 6 this season so far. And then another stat that's not so good. Charlotte is ranked 26th in goals scored per match, which is just 1 goal a match. But I will say this match specifically, the Philadelphia Union on the momentum chart only had momentum for 17 minutes of this entire match, bro.
Oh yeah, we controlled it.
Yeah, and then in in those 17 minutes, they were absolutely dangerous. And Kahlina stood on his head. We had some good blocks in there. Andrew Privet comes to mind. Yeah, Pedro actually comes to mind. Melanda. They're playing. The defense is just playing out of their mind. But with that being said, obviously we know that Kahlina is going to be the unanimous crown of the match day. But who you going to give your crown to today?
Like you said, I mean, Kahlina is the only choice for crown of the match. So I just want to give him his praise. I'm not going to try to split it this time or chicken out of the answer. For everything he's done in the last few games, and especially this as his capstone performance for the month of May, Kahlina deserves to be not only our crown of the day, not only the man of the match, which he was, but also the goalkeeper of the match day. I have no complaints. Zero about Kahlina. I think he did amazing. I think our whole back line did good. Even João Pedro on defense, I thought was good enough for me. And I said earlier, but I think my second crown or my underrated player I'd say is Diani, because I just feel like he's not getting enough credit for the work that he's doing. As a new player to MLS this year, we talk about that adjustment period. I feel like he's adjusted just fine, and he's getting along in this league and with his play style quite well. So shout out Diani, keep it up. I was very cautious coming into the season when I heard about the Diani signing. I didn't see on paper what the team saw, but that's why our scouting department does this for a living, and I just talk about it on a podcast. They were absolutely right. So cheers, Deani, man. Um, another box of wine for our
Yeah,
defense after this game.
yeah. And obviously my crown was going to go to Christian Kahlina as well. Philadelphia coming into this match was ranked fourth in the MLS with goals scored per match at 1.9 goals a match. So again, just big ups to Kahlina. Obviously the back line as well, but it's got to be Christian Kahlina. But putting a
Good.
bow on the Union game, we move ahead. We look to tomorrow's match against the hated, in my opinion anyway, New York Red Bulls. This is the first time we're going to be facing them since we played them in the playoffs last year, and they absolutely ran you off the pitch. And you're back up in New Jersey, so this is a match that you really, really, really just want to win. I mean, obviously you want to win them all, and I'm not going to sit here and say Charlotte is this is a make or break game or whatever. But at the same time, dude, New York Red Bulls are starting to become a little bit of a rival for every time these two teams play. It is a very, very chippy match. They sit fifth in the East right now coming into this match, and they just took a L this past week to their big rivals NYCFC 2-1. But I will say before that they beat DC United 4-1, beat New England 4-2. So this is a dangerous team. They've made some signings in Forsberg, who's been really, really good, and this is not going to be an easy match by no means. But with the way this defense is playing, is if we can just have some creativity, I'm intrigued to see what the starting lineup will be. If it'll be more defensive with Leo Labata out there getting the start, or how Dean Smith attacks this game. But this is a big game, and then it gets even bigger on Sunday. So, what are your thoughts on the Red Bulls game?
Yeah, it's a great question. They're sitting right now 1 point above us on the table, but they do have a game in hand. So we're getting to the point now in league play where you start talking about 6 point games, and really taking a dub and taking three from Red Bulls would be monumental. We would
Yeah,
leapfrog up to potentially, if I'm looking at this correctly, potentially fourth place, depending on other results in the East. It would be quite an opportunity right now because you're looking at a Red Bulls team that's 2-1-2 in their last five. They only have 3 losses on the season, and 2 of those were in their last 4 games. So
yeah,
it looks like an opportunity. It looks like it's there for the taking, but you have to look at the Charlotte squad and say, where are the goals going to come from? And last time we played Red Bull, obviously you can talk about how it's the playoff, the play-in game. Does it really count? Is it really the playoffs? I mean, it literally is the playoffs. The MLS graphics said, "Welcome to the playoffs," so it
yeah,
counts. But losing that first game that badly left a really bad taste in all of our mouths. Obviously, our coach was fired after that, and the only bright spot of that game was when they subbed in Patrick Ajman, and he absolutely took over.
yeah,
So I want to see us feed Pat. I want to see him body these guys. I want to see him put the team on his shoulders. And I know it sounds like maybe putting pressure on the young guy, but if he's our number 9, I need him to step up and be the number 9. And just like he did in that play-in game, put the team on your shoulders, make something happen, show why we trust you as our starting 9. And now we have the defense to back you up. Last time we allowed 5 goals against them. This time we haven't allowed a single goal in the last 5 weeks. So, I mean, it's a completely different situation. And
yeah.
yeah, Patrick Ajman's my key to the game. I think if he has a good game, then we can walk away with 3 points.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this, man. Obviously, like I said, New York Red Bulls have Emil Forsberg now, Morgan, former Celtic player, and then the one who always bites us. He can't score to save his life, bless his heart. But when he plays Charlotte, he looks like he is, prime Lionel Messi out there. That is Elias Manuel.
Oh,
And
right. Yeah.
dude, when we had Mark Fishkin on last season before this game, um, he told me, he said, "Hey man, this game's going to be, you know, this game's going to be, back and forth." He thought in his mind, but he's like, "Hey man, I tell you, Elias Manuel, he only scored 2 games, and but we went in that game, and he scored a hat trick against us. So my key to the match is containing Elias Manuel. You just have to. You cannot let this guy go out there and score on you again, man. You just can't." And then, like I said, man, we'll break that game down hopefully Thursday for you guys and have it out Friday, and hopefully have a little preview for the Atlanta United match, the big rivalry match on Sunday. Um, Anything else you want to talk about FC before we move on to some USL?
Yeah, man. We're gonna try to get some guests on, perhaps to talk about Red Bulls or some of the future games. We want to bring you guys some perspectives from around the league, so hopefully we'll get that soon. Just talking about FC though, before we go, I don't know how much we've really talked about this on the actual program. The Charlotte FC community report came out talking about the charity and community contributions of the club, and there was a spotlight video, and I'm sure you saw this, man. Caroline Love and the team rallied around her, a young woman suffering from health problems and mental health problems, which, is a real illness that a lot of us face, myself included. And, dude, they dropped this video at like 9 a.m. on a weekday, and I sat there
Just
and watched it. Oh my god, dude, absolutely rocked me. Her family wrote a letter to the club, and they had Kahlina and Westwood reading it, and so they were cutting between the two of them. And when Westwood started getting choked up in the middle of it, and he had to like get up and like take a beat, dude, I lost it, man. That was like the most impactful Charlotte FC video that I've seen. And I sent it to a bunch of my friends. I shared it on social media, and it's like, this is one of the things we love about this club. Okay, it's not about soccer. It's like Ted Lasso, right? Like, you're not watching it because it's a show about soccer. You're watching it because it's about the relationships of the people. And
Yeah.
dude, I could not be more proud of this team and this community. I love you guys, and I just, we need to shout out the team for, and Dean specifically for understanding that it's bigger than the sport. It goes beyond the 90 minutes. It goes beyond the pitch. Like, this team and all of the pro teams in Charlotte, they are pillars of the community. They are things that bring people and families and friends together through happy times and through the most difficult times of their life. So,
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, if anybody, needs to ask for help, that's okay. It's the bravest thing you can do, and it's super easy. All you have to do is call 988, and you can talk to somebody. You're never alone. And so just want to say we love you guys, and I love this team, man. Love this community.
Yeah, I mean, I'll echo that. Like you said, it's a very special video. Like you said, just to drop that on a 9 a.m. on a random weekday, man, it had the feels going. And again, mental health is extremely prevalent in today's society in all kinds of facets. And we a lot of people take that for granted, and a lot of people, still there's a stigma about it, and there should not be. So it's the profession that I work in full time. The things that specifically first responders and have to deal with, and the trauma they face and stuff like that. That
Yeah.
mental illness is a real thing, and I've seen it firsthand. So again, I just echo what you said. One more thing before we hop off of FC, we do got a couple of announcements to make, and I want to get your thoughts on it. I know you've been discussing this more on Twitter than I have.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. I got thoughts.
yeah. So before we hop into that specifically, um, yeah. Well, actually, let's do it. Karol Swiderski. Y'all remember him? Y'all remember Karol Swiderski, the Polish phenom,
Yeah, it rings a
if
bell.
you will. So there's been some reports by our friend Jorge over at Top Mid 90, and that there's a real possibility that he comes back to this club. What do you know about it, Luke? And what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, pretty wild. An outlet that I was not familiar with, which according to their description is a North American soccer, I don't know, news aggregator type site. What are they called here? I'm gonna give them a little shout out, I guess. The North Insiders. For those who love North American soccer, not very many followers, not a huge account, but they tweeted out a Italian outlet that covers Verona, where Carroll's on loan, and kind of expounded on it and said that the sporting manager or the sporting director of Verona is declining to sign Karol Swiderski with a $6 million price tag as per the agreement. Now, the loan for Carroll expires June 30th, which coincides with, I believe, the transfer window opening. And Verona has some transfer targets that they would like to sign with higher budgets and price points. So they want to decline all of their loan options for players that they picked up in the January window. And they want to try to cut budget. So I get it from a financial perspective why you would decline the Swiderski loan. However, our understanding from the initial reporting, and this is not just Top in 90. It was Top in 90. It was Tom Bogert, the most respected name in MLS transactional reporting. It was, I believe, the New York Times, whoever they had on their staff, also had this. And then a number of other sources in and around Charlotte FC, including from me. I cannot tell you verbatim they told me this, but everything that they told me implied that the Swiderski loan was auto-triggered if Verona avoided relegation. And that the only situation where there would be negotiation is if Verona was relegated, and then they would find somewhere else for Swiderski in Europe, specifically in Italy. But that being said, everything I was told from the organization and from people around the organization was that if Verona avoided relegation, which they did, they stayed up in Serie A, that would auto-trigger the option to buy. So it's not really an option if it's auto-triggered. Now Verona is saying that they're not going to buy him. I will just point out that does not mean that one story is incorrect. Both of those things can be true. They could have an automatically triggered option, and they could now be saying they're going to decline it. So that it could be posturing, it could be some kind of negotiation, or it could be Verona just disregarding the contract they signed. It could very well just be that. I don't know. None of us have this information. None of us have seen the loan agreement. Carol has been very careful to couch her language. Carol Rogers. Yeah. So man, I don't know. It's a mess right now, and none of us have any clarity until the two teams officially, put out statements
Yeah.
about it. Swiderski is not coming back to Charlotte FC. Everybody that I've talked to has echoed this. His time with Charlotte FC is over. He does not fit into Dean's system. The staff here, the front office, all of them have moved on. So if he does not go to Verona permanently, he will have a new home in Europe. Regardless, he's staying in Europe for the Euros with Poland. So he's going to be in that training camp. He's going to be with that squad for the next 6 to 8 weeks. He's not coming back to Charlotte. Any reaction to that extent is misreading the headline. It's not looking further than the surface level. It's not happening. And I'm okay with that. I don't think we need Karol Swiderski. I think in the short term for the next few games, yeah, having an experienced 9 would be great. But in the long run, even for the season, it's not a good fit for our team. So let's move on. This seems like a football manager video game kind of back and forth transaction drama. It doesn't have any immediate impact on us as a club.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen takes from we need Carroll back, or to never let him come back to the city and all this stuff. And I tend to be on the same train as you, which is usually how this goes. But I tend to think that could Carroll help this team out if he at playing at a number 10 like he was that first year when we had Daniel Rios up top. Yeah, with Patrick Ajimang up front, Leo Labata, Kerwin Vargas, and Carroll playing that cam position, I think it would. I think it would drastically help this team. But at the same time, do you really want somebody playing for you who don't want to be here? It's just one of those things, man. So, and again, I think it's all hearsay, or not hearsay, but I think it's all null and void because I don't think he's coming back regardless. Specifically, like what you said, with, as far as Dean, people got to remember he was here for the preseason, and Dean got to see him, and Dean got to see what he brings to the table, and Dean still chose to move him on. So that should be all there is to say about it. Anything else on FC before we hop out before we go on to the USL?
Yeah, just kind of echoing summer transfer window. All signs are pointing to we have a number of targets. It's going to be a big summer transfer window. We have Leagues Cup coming up, so we will see Philadelphia again pretty soon here in the summertime. That's going to be at Philly. I think that would be a fun little road trip. We have Atlanta coming up this weekend on Sunday. It's a mid-afternoon game on Sunday. I'm up in the air whether or not I'll attend, but that should be a really good one. Obviously, the Southern Championship belt is on the line. We are accruing points, and I believe we're in second position right now. So a win against Atlanta would go a long way to help us win a little bit of fan-designated hardware. You'd love to see it. That's all I got, man.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on. I'll touch on the Greenville Triumph for just a second. The Greenville Triumph are your league leaders in the USL League One. They played this past Saturday against the Spokane Velocity in the Jägermeister Cup and drew 0-0, but won on penalties to go top of the group. They're sitting on 6 points, top of the group, with Richmond in second, the Independents in third, and South Georgia in fourth. Yeah, man, this was Jamie Smith was phenomenal in this match. He was defending very, very well. And this again, you can't complain about it when you're on top of the group and top of the league. Liam McKinnon just absolutely balling out. My son actually got to play or do a train with the Triumph day with his soccer club, and got to go out there. And Liam McKinnon was out there, a bunch of the assistant coaches, and then a few other players, and they had a great, great time. So big ups to the Triumph for that. And so what's going on the Independence front, man?
Yeah, they're sitting in sixth. They only have 6 games played. I know Greenville and Tormenta both have 8 games played. So, Charlotte has a few games in hand, control their own destiny to an extent. But really, I mean, Union Omaha is looking real dangerous. They are undefeated currently in the season with an 11-4 goal differential. And they're sitting in second place, and they have the least games played of the top of the table teams. So we all got to look out for Union Omaha. Independence is sitting in not a great position on the Jägermeister Cup. They played Northern Colorado. That one went to penalty kicks where the Independence lost. They're going to come back and start playing in their pod, which includes Greenville, I think, coming up soon here. So, we'll see what happens in the Jägermeister Cup. It's a very interesting format. I would still love to actually get to a Jägermeister tailgate and do a celebratory shot of, as Rod from Men in Blazers calls it, human emotion in a glass. And I do love that artwork for that tournament. Shout out to them. And USL League One, innovating with the season format. Yeah, Independence is looking good. They have a beach party theme for Saturday night's game. So if you can make it out to American Legion Memorial Stadium, we'd love to see you. Beach party theme, wear a Hawaiian shirt. We're going to be grilling out. I've heard there may be beach balls. So yeah, we're going to just have a little summertime party here. 'Tis the season, right?
Yeah, man, that sounds fun. I mean, we got FC tomorrow night. You got the Independence Saturday. You got FC again on Sunday, and the big one against Atlanta United. And Atlanta United looks atrocious this year
They
and
do.
probably getting ready to fire their coach. So, yeah, man, it's and not only that, but the month of June, man, and then going into July, like we've talked about, you got Leagues Cup, you got the Copa America, which I am just absolutely ecstatic about. Well, we will. If you've been following this podcast for any time, you know that we have Vince from USMNT Thoughts on Twitter. We always have him on to discuss the United States men's national team and any big tournaments that they're in. And so we will definitely have Vince on to discuss Copa America and then the Olympics. I mean, it's going to be a big,
Oh
big
my
summer
goodness.
for domestic soccer, international soccer.
Euros,
I'm
Copa.
freaking
I mean,
out,
yeah.
dude. Yeah, you got the Euros going on. It's going to be a freaking phenomenal summer for some soccer. And
The
yeah, man, I'm very, very
USL,
excited about
yeah, the USL Super League launching in August. I've been
it. Yep.
hearing some incredible things about that. I know the the Carolina Ascent are going for a home sellout crowd. That's their target. And they have been designated as the official opening game for the USL Super League. So
Yeah.
your Carolina Ascent will be hosting the very first game in league history in August. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, if you haven't gotten your season tickets, now's the time. I know our friend Carolina Reaper is all fired up. He has an Ascent themed Carolina Reaper outfit, which is killer. I gotta say, bro, their color scheme, their branding is on point. It looks like a sunset over the mountains. It is the
Yeah,
coolest
it's
thing.
dope. Yeah, it's absolutely dope.
Shout
I'm
out to
sitting
them,
here
man.
looking at it right now. It's phenomenal.
Gotta say, I'm actually, I know I told you guys earlier, I was like hesitant on it. I'm actually getting pretty hyped up. Like the more I hear about it, they're signing players now. They're getting a lot of like NC native players. They're getting players that have trophies and championships and titles to their name over in Europe, and they're bringing them back to the States. I mean, I'm actually getting pretty excited. The coaching staff looks solid. Um, you got some U.S. National team pedigree. I don't know, man. I think we could have something special on our hands over here with the Carolina Ascent.
Yeah, I'm very excited as again, and hopefully, man, hopefully we can sell out that or at least make history on that first game. As far as
Yeah,
attendance goes. But yeah, anything else you got on the agenda, Luke? Before we hop out of here?
man. I know, like you said, we got a lot of soccer coming up. We got the soccer tournament next week. I know time is running short, but I'm still going to try to put together a preview episode for you guys so we can tell you more about that tournament, what's going on there. I know we have a few little connections with some different teams and organizers involved with that, so I'm going to see if I can put together a little preview. That would be a blast. We got the Atlanta road trip coming up. I'm a maybe on that. But like you said, there's so much soccer coming up this summer. We have a new coach for the U.S. women's national team. I mean, dude, I don't know. The Olympics are going to be in Paris, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and then the Euros in Germany. So it's going to be wild. I'm so excited. This is what a time to be a soccer fan in the U.S. And we know that Charlotte is a soccer city. We know that the Carolinas are a soccer country, and we couldn't have a better group of fans and listeners and fellow football sickos or soccer sickos to celebrate this entire season with. So, cheers to you, Cole. Cheers to our listeners, and we'll see you at the games.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, just getting away from soccer for a second. Congratulations to Luke's Alabama Crimson Tide going to the Women's College World Series and some
Let's go.
softball taking down Tennessee.
Yeah, dude, Tennessee throwing some mad shade. Their post game graphic as they lose, they took Alabama's logo and put it in their colors and Tennessee colors, that disgusting orange. Oh my god.
Yeah, just horrible,
Epic,
horrible looking orange.
epic trolling though. I mean, just the, oh man. But anyway, yeah, hasta luego to them. But yeah, Alabama
Yeah,
Crimson Tide, we're showing up, man. Softball, the Carolinas have a big baseball history, softball history. So, we just had the lacrosse championships, and American Legion Memorial Stadium hosted the ACC lacrosse tournament. We have the rugby, Anthem Rugby is in full swing here in Charlotte. So, lots of sports going on, man. It's a great time in the Carolinas in the sports, but I think that's it for me. Let's see. Anything else coming up on your end, Cole? Do you got any Greenville Triumph plans coming up soon?
Uh, Unfortunately, I don't. I will. I'm leaving Saturday, so I will. My plan originally was to be in Atlanta Sunday, but we are going to leave Saturday, and we're going on a deep sea fishing trip for a week, up to where my wife is from, up in North Carolina, up near
Okay.
the Outer Banks. And so we'll be gone from Saturday to Saturday. My plan is hopefully to get up to, my wife doesn't know this yet, so keep it on the down low. But my plan is to get up there Saturday in time to watch the Champions League final between Real Madrid
Ooh,
and Borussia Dortmund, and then obviously watch the CONCACAF Champions Cup final that night
yeah.
between Columbus and Pachuca down in Pachuca,
Oh,
Mexico.
good call. I want to see that. That's higher on my list than the actual Champions League.
Oh yeah,
To be honest with you.
definitely. I will definitely be watching that game. It's at 9:15 Eastern time, so yeah, I'll be watching that. But I will be watching the Champions League final as well. Hopefully, we'll be up there by then. So, but yeah, other than that, man, I'm good to go.
Awesome. Oh, hey, I want to see that new Mad Max movie, the Mad Max Furiosa
Yeah.
movie. I've heard that looks pretty sick. I haven't seen any movies lately. I feel like I'm missing out, except for the Jennifer Lopez giant robot movie that's on Netflix. It's like the video game
So
Titanfall. It's insane. It
yeah.
just with Jennifer Lopez, it's so random. Um, so that was cool. That
So
was interesting.
the only good movie that I've seen here recently that's kind of newish is Roadhouse. I
Oh,
thoroughly,
dude,
thoroughly, it was
how
so
good was
good.
that?
Oh, dude, just absolutely phenomenal. I'm a Jake Gyllenhaal guy. Like I like him a
Yeah.
lot. Obviously, Conor McGregor making his big acting debut, and I thought he nailed it, dude. He just an absolute psycho. So
Oh yeah,
it
but I
was,
mean, it was
it was,
perfect for Conor McGregor, right? Like,
yeah, dude. I mean, absolutely. You could not have found a better person to play that part.
oh yeah.
So yeah, and
Hey,
then
was it
uh,
better than the original in your opinion? Here's the hot
no,
take
no,
segment.
no, 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 no. I'm a
I'm gonna
Patrick
say it
Swayze and Sam
was.
Elliott.
I don't know, man. To me, I
I,
thought it was. I liked it a lot.
Dude, that to me, still to this day, if I watch the original, the part you've seen the original, correct?
Oh yeah, yeah,
So the part where the polar bear falls on the fat dude, and afterwards he's like, "What'd you see?" He's like, "A polar bear fell on me, dude." That's still one of the funniest
yeah.
parts to any movie. I remember what, but yeah, dude. R.I.P. to Patrick Swayze. Love that
Yeah,
guy.
absolutely.
Phenomenal in it.
Hey, the
Sam Elliott.
original Red Dawn. That's how I feel about that movie. Like the original Red Dawn was like I could watch that movie over and over again. Love it.
Oh, dude, I love the remake, the new Red Dawn. I love it as well. I thought Hemsworth did a good job in it, but I'm very excited for the new Deadpool movie coming out this
Oh
summer.
yeah, good
Got
call.
yeah, we got. I don't know if you're a Game of Thrones person, but the House of Dragon comes back out this summer.
I
The
am
Boys getting ready
such
to drop this summer.
speaking my
Dorsey
language.
getting ready to drop this summer.
Dude, I am such a Game of Thrones fan. I've read all the books, including the House of the Dragon book, Blood and Fire. So, if you haven't read that, let me tell you, this season on House of the Dragon, you are in for some amazing stuff and also a little bit of trauma. If you thought that the Red Wedding was bad, they may have a moment in the season that will rival the Red Wedding. So,
Oof,
stay
that's
tuned.
that's
Blood
yeah.
and cheese, my
So
friend. Blood and cheese.
I got on the Game of Thrones. So when it first come out years ago, I watched like maybe the first 4 or 5 episodes, and my ex-wife did not like how like gory and like she didn't like it,
Oh,
so I didn't really watch it. And then
bummer.
I was at the fire department, man, and it was like one of those like just pouring rain Sundays where we didn't do nothing. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna watch it, and within 3 weeks, I had watched all 7 seasons, dude,
That's how it
and
goes. That's how it goes.
yeah. Dude, it was, and then immediately went straight into House of Dragon, and man, it's just I'm completely hooked. I love the boys as well.
The Boys
It's
is
getting
my
ready to
show, dude.
drop.
I love that show.
Yeah,
Did you watch?
it's getting
Did you
ready to drop.
watch Gen V, the
Yeah,
spinoff?
dude, Gen V is phenomenal. But then, dude, this I love. Have you ever watched Shorzy?
I haven't. I haven't. I've heard good things. I haven't watched it.
Dude, Shorzy is one of the funniest shows I've ever watched. Reminds me
That's
a
a good
lot
one.
of Eastbound and Down, but just hockey.
Oh, dude.
And
Have you seen
dude, it is.
Slapshot? The movie
I
Slapshot?
have not seen.
All right,
I
you
have
got to watch
not.
the
No.
Slapshot movies, and I'll watch Shorzy. So, but yeah,
Dude,
trust me, dude,
Shorzy,
the
I
Slapshot
promise you.
movies are amazing.
Dude, you watch Shorzy the first season, man. It's phenomenal, and it's getting ready to come back out. Also, this weekend, like you mentioned a minute ago, the Carolinas are huge in college baseball. I played college baseball in South Carolina. My beloved Gamecocks are traveling up to North Carolina to go to Raleigh. They're playing in the NC State Regional up there this weekend, Friday and
Okay.
Saturday,
Okay.
and hopefully can take down the Wolfpack up there and move on to the Supers. Had a dude. They were in the SEC tournament. They were in the semifinals against LSU. Was up 8-0. I watched the entire game. They were up 8-0 in the third inning, and just 5 or 6 errors, bro. And they ended up losing 12-11 in extra innings, dude. I was so mad.
Hey,
But
for
yeah, man.
those for the folks listening to this that don't understand, SEC baseball is huge. Like it's a big deal. So
Yeah, they're to me, in all seriousness, I love SEC football. Like, don't get me wrong, like I love it. But again, I grew up a baseball guy. Like I played it my whole life, all the way up into college. So baseball runs deep in my blood. So I like college baseball more than I like MLB. So watching Carolina, I was in college the years that they went back to back national champions in 2010 and 2011. Had the opportunity to play at South Carolina on Sarge Fry Field, their old baseball stadium. Had the opportunity to play against South Carolina and get our absolute butts whipped. And so it was, I'm stoked about it. So there's a lot going on, man. I'm very excited for the summer. Um, and yeah, man, I can't wait to hop back on here Thursday and be talking about a New York Red Bulls loss to Charlotte FC.
we got so much to talk about, man. All right, yeah, I think I can say it. Fuck the Red Bulls.
Yeah,
And I'll
absolutely.
catch you guys later. Until next time, I'm Level Up Luke. It's my partner Cole, and
Yep.
it's
Florida.
Up the Jacks, baby.